Have you ever wanted a Hyperion, but just never quite had the funds to buy it? This Hyperion substitute costs less than 35 million coins. You may think, Nitrols, this sounds too good to be true. Of course, substituting any item for its cheaper alternative is always going to have its pros and its cons. In this situation, you'll need to purchase a Fire Veil one, which will set you back around about 14.6 million coins, a Voodoo Doll, which will set you back around about 1.7 million coins, a Jinxed Voodoo Doll, which will set you back around about 17 million coins, and an Aurora Staff, which will set you back around about 1.3 million coins. Believe it or not, this pretty cheap random combination can actually rain down hell on enemies. But first, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you get onto Skyblock and you decide to spend some of your real life hard-earned coins on pixels, then you should definitely use code Nitrols. It gets yourself 5% off, it's a no-brainer. Oh yeah, the cheap Hyperion. Yeah, okay, never mind, let's get to it. Now, as you can see from the items I've purchased, they don't have to be anything special. We've not even got Ultimate Wise on there, and to be completely honest, it doesn't matter about the attributes. The idea is that you cycle through these 4 weapons. Now, you're going to be using this setup with a mage setup. Of course, it rivals, in quotation marks, a Hyperion. So for the setup, you can use something like Storm Armor or Aurora. Now, this Storm or Aurora doesn't have to be anything special. You can literally go into the auction house and buy the cheapest set of Aurora that you can find, and it will do the job just fine. In terms of the pet, you could go for something like a level 100 Legendary Sheep. Once again, relatively cost efficient. I would recommend using the Sighted Power Stone, or Bazaar if you've really got that many coins to spare. And just put your extra stats into Intelligence. The reality is you're probably not going to use it up, but it's better to have more Intelligence than not enough. Now, we've also gone ahead and bought the cheapest set of Aurora that we could buy, which was just over 1 million coins. I would recommend using Wither Goggles, but it's just for the purpose of the video. And then we can use our sheep. In terms of equipment, I've got an Implosion Belt on and also a Gauntlet of Contagion, although it's not completely necessary. The rest of the equipment pieces, once again, aren't actually really that necessary or will have that much of an effect on what we're doing. So we're going to test this out against one of the mini-bosses in the Crimson Isles. The idea is that you basically just switch through these 3 weapons and just keep cycling through. Now, I'm not doing this massively efficiently. I have tested this out, but not with this exact setup. And I've died. Okay, as with most Nitrols videos, it's not usually executed just quite right. But we will still persist and try to kill Blade Soul. It's taking its time. Yeah, it definitely is. I think not having protection and growth on the armor doesn't exactly help. Alright, this is just a huge skill issue at this point. I've died about 10 times. We eventually killed it, but that was terrible. If executed properly, it should look something more similar to this. As you can see, simply switching through the items, waiting for the cooldown to pass. The timing is much better than whatever I was doing, to be completely honest. It's got to be said that this isn't with completely budget items either. Now, this video idea did come directly from the Discord server, so if you do want to voice your opinions on what sort of videos I actually make, then make sure to join the Discord server, linked in the description down below, and maybe I'll use one of your ideas. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, become part of the 27%. Now, to make this easier on myself, I am actually going to use my gold setup. Also, I'm going to switch to a Golden Dragon pet. Now, the weapon's cost is still 35 million. Obviously, now the setup's worth way more, but this is just to basically equate for my skill issue. And it should look a little bit more like this. Oh my god, imagine. Now, of course, there is cooldowns on the Voodoo Dolls, so you've got to try to equate for that, or else you're going to spam and nothing's going to happen. And it's all about getting the timing correct. I'll try it again. Hopefully we get slightly better results this time. I just missed, I've scrolled twice. Maybe I've got a dodgy mouse, that's what it is. Okay, I've scrolled twice again. You know, when you've got a skill issue, you've just got to blame other things, I've learned. I mean, that was pretty quick, I'm not going to lie. Even though I messed it up, like, really badly, and people are probably really cringing watching this, like, that was really quite quick for a 35 million coin weapon, essentially. Now I'm going to try the same thing again. I'm just going to go against Blade Soul, try to kill it with the Hyperion. Now, I already know for a fact I'm going to run out of mana, hence why I've got the Overflux at the ready, and I don't really need that with this setup at all. Of course, the Hyperion is what, like, over 2 billion coins still nowadays. The Overflux is 100 mil, so we're now looking at least like a 2.3 billion coin setup. And just the weapon alone is like, you know, literally 2 billion coins more expensive. Now, I'm not going to try this out with the other setup because nobody wants to see me run out of mana ridiculously quickly. Or just see it run out of mana pretty quickly. Not ridiculous. Alright, well, somebody is sort of also killing it too. We didn't really get to show off how much damage we did. Okay, maybe this is our time to shine. Why does that happen every time? Maybe we can just start from now this time. Okay, we spam, but we run out of mana. Okay, this is an issue. Now we've got to wait. We've got to try and regen some mana. We go again. Now it's going to regenerate health. I've got a feeling it's actually slower. Maybe if you had more mana it'd be way quicker. Having said that, the difference in time really isn't too bad. Okay, now we have a side-by-side comparison. This on the left using a Hyperion, and over on the right using the setup that I was talking about. We're going to play the video and it should give us a bit of a reference in terms of time differences. They are a little bit off, and of course the one on the right does start a little bit earlier. And if we actually watch it through to see which one goes down first, they're about the same time. So I'd say maybe using the 5L1 of the Voodoo Dolls is maybe a second slower than using a Hyperion. And of course a Hyperion is over 2 billion coins, and this setup is about 35 million. Of course you don't have the luxury of just spamming right click and absolutely demolishing everything in your path. And there is a bit more timing and I guess probably practice needed and a bit more skill required to actually use this efficiently, which is why it didn't really work too well for me other than the odd occasion when I got the timing right, like this. Okay, well, I did have a clip of me literally killing Blade Soul in, it must have been less than 6 or 7 seconds, it was ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, the timing must have been perfect and it was complete luck. But now it's, yeah, it's not going too well. Right, we'll give it one more go before I go insane. Let's see, the concentration. You hear the silence as I speak. There we go. That was pretty quick. I think I was trying to do it too quickly in between previously. But that was definitely similar to the Hyperion. But if you don't have the money to buy a Hyperion, but you want something similar, granted, it's not going to be the same or even similar to the Hyperion in many situations or scenarios, but if you're looking for a decent setup in the Crimson Isles, this is less than 35 mil. Of course, when you factor in your armor and your pet, it's not going to be less than 35 mil, the weapon's 35 mil. But when you compare that to 2 billion, it's not really too bad. Of course, you're not really going to be able to use this setup in dungeons, it's just not going to be effective at all, the items aren't dungeonizable and so on. But for against bosses and mini-bosses, and especially in the Crimson Isles, it definitely can't be discounted. And yeah, I have just tested out a 35 million coin weapon setup with a ridiculously expensive pet, but let's just move past that, okay, it doesn't matter. Even if we switch to the sheep pet that I do have equipped, but it's not following me, and try it out instead, we can still actually kill it fairly quickly. The Golden Dragon is definitely not a necessity, it just obviously does help out a little bit. We're still going to be able to take it out relatively quickly, as long as I don't... like I saw the Witherheads coming towards me, just decided I didn't want to move. No, forget it. We still did most of the damage and we did it relatively quickly. If we didn't die, it would have been much better. Anyway, try the setup out, let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.